Hey, all you cool cats and kittens, it's your favorite history teacher back at you again with another historical video. Today, we are talking about everyone's favorites, Adolf Hitler. So, buckle up, let's get into it. We're talking about his rise to power and what he did while he was in charge. Not necessarily the Holocaust, but the actions he took to make his rise to power. So, Hitler and Nazi Germany, chapter 10, lesson 3. Now, this is the end of chapter 10, but it's not the end of the unit. We will be looking at in chapter 11 looking at Mao Zedong in China. So, I don't know why I made that noise. Okay, chapter 10, lesson 3. That was your warm up. Okay, so you're going to be able to describe the economic devastation Germany experienced after World War One, and describe Hitler's totalitarian state and the use of propaganda. Excuse me, propaganda. Oh dear Lord! All right, Hitler's ism, because again, it's reference to Nazism. However, it's also his form of fascism. Hitler's ism. So Adolf Hitler, as we all know, born in Austria, 1889, was a failure in school, so he traveled to Vienna to become an artist, but was rejected by the Academy. And it is here in the multi-ethnic capital of the Habsburg Empire, Austria-Hungary, is where he developed his basic political ideas. At the core of it was racism, especially anti-Semitism. Hitler was also an extreme nationalist who knew how political parties could effectively use propaganda and terror. Hitler served because he was so weak and frail. He was actually denied to join the Austrian military when World War One broke out. So he went to Germany because he heard Germany was accepting anyone. He joined the German army. He will fight for 4 years on the Western Front during World War One. After the war, Hitler remained in Germany and entered into politics. In 1919, he joined the little-known German Workers' Party, one of several right-wing extreme nationalist parties in Munich. By 1921, Hitler had taken control of the party, and by that time, the party had been renamed the National Socialist German Workers' Party, NSDAP for the abbreviation in its German name, or Nazi for short. Test question. Within 2 years, party membership had grown from 50 to 55,000, with 15,000 in the party militia. The militia is variously known as the SA, the Storm Troops, or the Brown Shirts, after the color of their uniforms. Test question. An overconfident Hitler, after seeing how Mussolini did it in Italy, he's going to try and do the same thing in Munich, stage an uprising against the government in November 1923. The uprising is called the Beer Hall Putsch. I think I said that right. Putsch. And it was quickly crushed, and Hitler was sentenced to prison, where he wrote Mein Kampf, My Struggle, an account of his movement and its basic ideas. Test question. In Mein Kampf, Hitler will link extreme German nationalism and strong anti-Semitism and anti-communism together by a social Darwinian theory of struggle. The theory emphasized the right of superior nations to Lebensraum, living space, through expansion. It also upheld the right of superior individuals to gain authoritarian leadership over the masses. So much, so many terms just jam-packed into this slide. But, Hitler wanted to overthrow the government, and it worked for Mussolini, did not work for Hitler here. So he will be arrested, and he actually saw a favorable judge who only sentenced him to, because this is treason, right? He only sentenced him to 5 years in prison. So what he did, an armed assault, violent attempt for an overthrow of the government, turns out, he only got 5 years for it. And he got let out for good behavior for 2. So lucky guy, I guess. Mein Kampf, his book. Yeah, that's like the the forefront of Nazism. Is what do you want to look at? Well, look at the stuff he wrote in his book. All right. That's a young Adolf Hitler. This is Hitler right here with the mustache. I believe this is him following the right before the beer hall putsch, and that's him arrested. I think. I don't know. There's his book. Lebensraum, living space, take over other places for your people to grow. Lebensraum, living space. All right, party promises. So while in prison, Hitler came to the conclusion that the Nazis would have to attain power legally through elections, not by the violent overthrow of the Weimar Republic. This meant that the Nazi Party would have to be a mass party that could compete for votes. When out of prison, Hitler expanded the Nazi Party in Germany. By 1929, the party had become a national organization, and 3 years later, it grew to over 800,000 members. Became the largest party in the Reichstag, Germany's parliament. No doubt, Germany's economic difficulties were a crucial factor in the Nazis' rise to political power. Unemployment had risen dramatically, growing from 4.35 million in 1931 to 5.5 million in the winter of 1932. So in less than a year, a million more people unemployed. So Hitler had promised a new Germany, and that appealed to nationalism and militarism, and everyone liked it. So there's Hitler giving a speech. Everyone likes speeches for some reason. So rise of the Nazis. After 1930, the German government was ruled by decree with the support of President Hindenburg, not Heisenberg, Hindenburg. The Reichstag had little power. Increasingly, the right-wing elites of Germany, industrial leaders, landed aristocrats, military officers, and high bureaucrats looked to Hitler for leadership. They're like, we can use this guy to get us anything and everything we want. Under pressure, Hindenburg agreed to allow Hitler to become chancellor. Agreed to allow Hitler to become chancellor in 1933 and to create a new government. Within 2 months, Hitler had laid the foundation for the Nazi Party's complete control over Germany. Hitler's legal seizure of power came on March 23, 1933, when a 2/3 vote of the Reichstag passed the Enabling Act. This is going to be a test question. This new law gave the government the power to ignore the Constitution for 4 years while it issued laws to deal with the country's problems. It's almost like the German New Deal. However, our president, Franklin D. Roosevelt, did not ignore the Constitution that was set up. Here, Hitler's government is agreeing to avoid and ignore the Constitution that has been set up in place just so they can do whatever's necessary to fix their problems. And that might have worked for them. I don't know if it would have worked here. I don't think so. Probably would have led to a revolution in my mind. But when you have so much desperation and despair in the air, people will follow the strong and they won't follow the weak, if that makes sense. This Enabling Act also gave Hitler's later actions a legal basis, as he no longer needed the Reichstag or President Hindenburg. So in effect, Hitler became a dictator appointed by parliamentary body himself. He legally was chosen. So now the former leader, President Hindenburg, chose him as the chancellor. So now he's legal. Legal, it's lawful, it's real, it's legit. Too legit to quit. So with their new power, the Nazis quickly brought all institutions under their control. They purged the civil service of democratic elements and of Jews, whom they blamed for Europe's, not Germany's, Europe's economic woes. They set up prison camps called concentration camps for people who opposed them, and all political parties were abolished except the Nazis. By the end of the summer of 1933, only 7 months after being appointed chancellor, Hitler had established a basis for a totalitarian state. When Hindenburg died in 1934, the office of president was abolished, and Hitler became the sole ruler of Germany. People took oaths of loyalty to their Führer, or leader. That's Hindenburg, and that's the Reichstag. Hitler giving another speech. State Supreme. So Hitler wanted to develop a totalitarian state. He had not simply sought power for power's sake. He had a larger goal. The development of an Aryan racial state that would dominate Europe and possibly the world for generations to come. Aryan is the term used to identify people speaking Indo-European languages. The Nazis, however, misused this term by treating it as racial designation and identifying the Aryans with the ancient Greeks and Romans of the 20th century, Germans, and Scandinavians. So the Nazis thought they were the true descendants and leaders of the Aryans and would create an empire. Remember, these are blonde-haired, blue-eyed individuals, German-speaking. To achieve this goal, Hitler needed the active involvement of the German people. The Nazis pursued this creation of totalitarian state in several ways. For one thing, they used mass demonstrations and spectacles to make the German people an instrument of Hitler's policies. These meetings, especially the Nuremberg Party rallies that were held every September, usually evoked mass enthusiasm and excitement. As the sole ruler of Germany, Hitler relied on instruments of terror and to maintain control. So you have I've only known it as the Schutzstaffel. The book says it's the Schutzstaffeln. Tomato, tomato, one letter missing. Schutzstaffel. The German for guard squadrons, known in shorthand as the SS, SS, and SA, are different. And they were an important force for maintaining order. The SS was originally created as Hitler's personal bodyguards, but under the direction of Heinrich Himmler, the SS came to control not only the secret police forces that Himmler had set up, but also the regular police forces across Germany. The SS was based on two principles: terror and adherence to Nazi ideology. Terror included the instruments of repression and murder, secret police, criminal police, concentration camps, and later execution squads, where in the death camps, prisoners would be killed. For Himmler, the SS was to further the Aryan race. And here you have the blonde hair, blue eyes, not German, or not Aryan, Aryan, not Aryan, Aryan. Big mass demonstrations. I wonder what country nowadays tries to do mass demonstrations. Can anyone think of one? North Korea, maybe? That's Heinrich Himmler. Although, no, this is an SS. This is SS. Yeah. That's the SS. Although I don't know if that is, because that's Werner Myers. I don't think that's, I Googled Heinrich Himmler. So it is what it is. All right, Nazi society. In the economic sphere, because, reparations and stuff, Hitler will use public works progress and grants to private construction firms to put people back to work and to end the Depression. But the massive rearmament program, however, was the key to solving the unemployment problem. Right? Unemployment, which had reached more than 5 million in 1932, dropped to less than 500,000 by 1933. Remember, America, if you remember from lesson 1, America had 10 million unemployed in 1938. So there you go. The regime claimed full credit for solving Germany's economic woes. In part, its part in ending the Depression was an important factor in leading many Germans to accept Hitler and the Nazis. Hey, they were able to do it, so I will support them. Why not? That's what Germans would have done, and Austrians too. Women also played a crucial role in the Aryan state as bearers of the children who Nazis believed would bring about the triumph of the Aryan race. Nazis believed men were destined to be warriors and political leaders, while women were meant to be wives and mothers, and in this way, each could best serve to maintain the entire community. Nazi ideas determined employment opportunities for women, jobs in heavy industry the Nazis thought might hinder women from bearing healthy children. Professions such as university teaching, medicine, and the law were also considered unsuitable for women, especially married women. The Nazis encouraged women to pursue occupations such as social work and nursing. The Nazi regime pushed its campaign against working women with poster slogans such as "Get hold of pots and pans and brooms and you'll sooner find a groom." Well, that's just sexist, but I don't know how else to describe it. I don't want to seem like I'm supporting Hitler at all. I'm just saying these are the methods and the things that were done for Hitler to establish himself as a dictator and to run the country. I don't speak German, so although looks like Russian, whatever, it works itself out. Anti-Semitic. So, from its beginning, the Nazi Party reflected the strong anti Semitic beliefs of Adolf Hitler. When in power, the Nazis translated the anti Semitic ideas into anti Semitic policies. In September 1935, the Nazis announced the new anti Semitic laws at the annual party in Nuremberg. These Nuremberg laws defined who was considered a Jew, anyone with even one Jewish grandparent. Geez, eh, that's not how you spell Jew. Can I escape? Thank you. My computer being not cooperative. Okay, let's go back. Okay, so anyone who had a Jewish grandparent, remember this is Judaism is a religion, and they think Judaism also defines who you are ethnically. So they also stripped Jews of their German citizenship. Civil rights forbade marriages between Jews and German citizens. Eventually, German Jews were also required to wear yellow stars of David and to carry identification cards saying that they were Jewish. A more violent phase of anti Jewish activity began on the night of November 9th, 1938. Kristallnacht, or the night of shattered glass, broken glass, same thing. In a destructive rampage, Nazis burned synagogues and destroyed some 7,000 Jewish businesses in Germany, Austria, and the Sudetenland and Czechoslovakia. 30,000 Jewish males were arrested and sent to concentration camps. Jews were now barred from all public transportation, all public buildings, including schools and hospitals. They were prohibited from owning, managing, or working in any retail store. Finally, under the direction of the SS, Jews were encouraged to emigrate from Germany. The fortunate Jews were the ones who managed to escape from the country. Here are Nuremberg laws. I guess this is what they're trying to portray as someone who is Jewish. Kind of bad, right? There's some broken businesses, Yellow Star of David, concentration camps, coming off of trains or going on trains. All right, last slide. Nazi culture. A series of inventions in the late 1800s had led the way for a revolution in mass communication, especially the important was Marconi's discovery of wireless radio waves. By the end of the 1930s, there were 9 million radios in Great Britain. Full-length motion pictures appeared shortly before World War I. By 1939, about 40% of adults in the more developed countries were attending a movie once a week. Of course, radio and the movies could be used for political purposes. Radio offered opportunities for reaching the masses. The Nazi regime encouraged radio listening by urging manufacturers to produce inexpensive radios that could be bought on an installment plan. Film, too, had a propaganda potential, a fact not lost on Joseph Goebbels, that's how you pronounce it, the German propaganda minister. Believing that film was one of the most modern scientific means of influencing the masses, Goebbels created a special film division in his propaganda ministry. The film division supported the making of both feature films and documentaries, nonfiction films that carried the Nazi message. Nazis also made use of this new mass leisure activities that emerged by 1900. Mass leisure offered new ways to totalitarian states to control the people. The Nazi regime adopted a program called Kraft durch Freude, which translates to strength through joy. The program offered a variety of leisure activities to amuse the working class, included concerts, operas, films, guided tours, sporting events. Hitler will use sporting events from your warm up, such as the Olympic Games held in Berlin 1936, to show the world Germany's physical strength and prestige. So there's the radio. There's this is a movie. That's Joseph Goebbels. We don't like him. Kraft durch Freude. And that concludes this lecture. Again, I want to say, preface it. I'm not trying to support what he did. It might get lost in the translation of all this, but I again am showing you what happened. Okay, good and bad, because when you look at it, Hitler did pull his country out of the Depression. Yeah, by building up arms and all that jazz, but he did it. So that could be seen as a positive. But we all know he's very racist, anti-Semitic. So that obviously will come to the forefront when we ever talk about Hitler. All right. So Be that as it may, hopefully you guys did enjoy that. Your homework is page 385, 2 through 4, 385, 2 through 4. All right. So hopefully you guys did enjoy that. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.